have been following newspaper or current affair over the last few weeks, you must have come across one term again and again, that is El Nino. The India Meteorological Department, that is IMD, has recently reported that El Nino conditions have developed over the equatorial Pacific Ocean and may strengthen during the southwest monsoon season. El Nino can influence India's monsoon, agriculture production, food inflation, water availability, and even the country's economic growth. Right? What is El Nino? Can we understand an abnormal condition without first understanding the normal condition? So, before learning what El Nino is, let us first understand how the Pacific Ocean normally behaves. Right? Let us see the normal condition of Pacific Ocean. How does it behave normally? The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean on earth, as we know that. On its western side lie Indonesia and Australia, as you can see on the map. On the west side, Indonesia and Australia lies on its west side, and on the east side you can see here is South America continent, right, where we can see Peru and Ecuador like countries lies here. Now across the equatorial Pacific, a special type of permanent winds blow throughout the year. These winds are known as trade winds, right, that blow across the equatorial Pacific, right. The direction of these winds is from east to west. They move from east to west direction, from South America to Indonesia. So under normal condition, everything remains perfectly balanced. Trade winds are strong. Warm water remains near Indonesia. Indonesia receives heavy rainfall. Cold nutrient-rich water rises near Peru. Fishing remains highly productive. Everything is functioning normally. But nature doesn't always remain the same, right? The trade winds start becoming weaker in case of El Nino years. Let's explain about what is El Nino. El Nino is opposite to the normal condition we have discussed before. Every few years, the entire system begins to change. The trade winds start becoming weaker. The warm water begins to move away from Indonesia. The rainfall pattern changes. And this is exactly where the story of El Nino starts. Right? So what exactly happens when the trade winds become weak? Let's understand about the direction of these winds is from east to west, that is from South America to Indonesia and Australia. Right. Now the question is, why are these trade winds so important? Because they continuously push the warm surface water of Pacific Ocean towards Indonesia. Right. As a result, a huge pool of warm water accumulate in the western Pacific Ocean near Indonesia and North Australia. Now think about it. What happens when water becomes warm? It evaporates more quickly. More evaporation leads to more vapors, right? It gets vapor easily, right? More water vapor leads to more cloud formation, and more cloud results in heavy rainfall, right? Now let us move to the eastern Pacific Ocean near Peru. What will happen here? Since most of the warm surface water has already been pushed towards the Indonesia part, cold water in deep ocean, in deep down, we can see the cold water from deep ocean rises to surface near the coast of Peru. That process is called as upwelling. This cold water starts flowing in upward direction. The process is called upwelling. That is called as upwelling, right? But why is upwelling important? Because this cold water is rich in nutrients like nitrogen become weak. Since the pushing force become weak, the warm surface water is no longer held near Indonesia, right? Instead, it slowly starts moving back towards the central and eastern Pacific Ocean near the coast of Peru and Ecuador. As a result, the sea surface temperature in the central and eastern Pacific becomes warmer than normal. This abnormal warming of the central and eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean is called El Nino, right? Remember one simple rule: warm water leads to more evaporation, and more that leads to more clouds, and more clouds give rainfall in return. Under normal condition, the warm water is near Indonesia, so Indonesia and Australia receives heavy rainfall. But during El Nino, the warm water shifted towards east side. As a cloud formation and rainfall also shifted toward the central and eastern Pacific Ocean. This means Indonesia and Australia receives less rainfall during this period, and Peru and Ecuador receives more rainfall, which can even cause floods. So simply by changing the location of warm water, the entire rainfall pattern over the Pacific Ocean changes. Now we have discussed about one word, that is upwelling. What is upwelling? Under normal condition, cold nutrient rich water rises near coast of Peru. This process is called upwelling. But during El Nino, warm water spread over the eastern Pacific and forms a thick warm layer on the ocean surface. This layer acts like a barrier. It prevents the cold water from rising to surface. As a result, upwelling becomes weak. Fewer nutrients reach the surface. Right, plankton population decreases. Fish production declines because of that. This is why El Nino has a major impact on Peru's fishing industry also. Right. Now the question is, how does El Nino affect India? If El Nino occurs in the Pacific Ocean, why is India affected? The answer is that Earth's atmosphere is interconnected. Right. As a result, the Indian southwest monsoon often becomes weaker, leading to below normal rainfall in many parts of India. Where rainfall decreases, that can lead to the decline in kharif crop production, water availability may decrease, farmers' income is also affected, food prices may rise, rural economy comes under pressure. That is why El Nino is not just a geographical topic, it is also an important topic for agriculture, economy, rural development. Let's discuss the impact of El Nino on agriculture production. A weak monsoon means less rainfall. When rainfall is below normal, farmers may delay sowing or face poor crop growth due to a lack of soil moisture. As a result, the production of kharif crops such as rice, maize, pulses, soybean, cotton, groundnut may decline. Lower agricultural production means less food reaches to the market. Right, the second one is food inflation. Now let's apply simple economic principles. When the supply of food decreases but demand remains the same, prices starts increasing. Right, this leads to the food inflation. Essential commodities like pulses, cereals, vegetables and edible oils may become more expensive. Food inflation affects every household because people have to spend more on basic necessities, and then it can impact the farmers' income also. Lower crop production directly reduces farmers' income. If crop fails due to inadequate rainfall, farmers may also find it difficult to repay agricultural loans. This increases financial stress in rural areas. Impact on rural economy. When farmers earn less, they also spend less. Demand for tractors, fertilizer, farm equipments, consumer goods, and rural products may decline. As a result, businesses that depend on rural markets are also affected. Right, and lower crop production. As the monsoon affects the production, that can lead to the decline in crop production also. Overall economic growth. What are the impact of these abnormalities in the weather or atmosphere on the economic growth? Agriculture contributes directly to India's GDP and also supports many allied sectors such as food processing, transportation and rural industries. When agricultural growth slows down, the overall pace of economic growth may also slow. Right.